Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Vega. I'm the chair of the Imperial County Democratic Party, and it's an honor to be able to be spending this evening with you tonight to hear from our IID candidates and the Assembly District 36 candidates. Please, let's give it up for our first round, the IID candidates. All right. We want to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the Hidalgo Society for allowing us to gather here this evening, and to Floreria Karin for their generous support. All right, on your way inside, you saw that there's a bin of questions. Can I get the question folk in the back to raise your hand so people know where to turn them in? You can see Jack Terrazas over there. Shout out to Jack and Daniela. They're gonna be collecting the questions. On your way in, you were supposed to have collected a blue slip or a yellow slip, and those questions will be incorporated at the later part of the forum where we will go into the Q&A, where you will have the opportunity to ask either direct questions to the individual candidates or general questions for all of the candidates to answer. So just make sure you read the form that you fill out. And then when you're ready, you submit it to Daniela and Jack in the back, and you have an opportunity to submit questions until the candidates are done answering the prepared questions. I know that was a lot of ramble, and we just got here from work, so I'll make sure to give you a heads up before we're no longer taking questions so that we can go into that. All right. The other thing is that there are restrooms behind us, women's over here, men over here, and you know, we all know that there's been a lot of tension and a lot of energy around this race particularly, so we're gonna ask that we all agree to spend our time peacefully here. Everybody here respects each other, and so no funny business tonight. We don't have time for that. And we also want to thank our friends over from Brawley PD for being here this evening to ensure that everybody is all right. All right. Okay, just a little bit more house rules. These forums are being recorded and live streamed, so everybody, best behavior. And I will pass it over to Francis, President of Democrats United Imperial Valley, the only Democratic chartered club in Imperial County, for some opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. As he said, my name is Francis Biopi, born and raised in Imperial County. Come from the south end of Calexico, and now I'm north of Keystone. But we're all one valley, and it's important that we all realize that in order for us to move forward, we have to do it collectively, and we have to move in the same direction if we are all going to succeed in Imperial County. So I want to say good evening, everyone in the audience and our candidates here today. Thank you all for your attendance and your interest in wanting to become better informed voters. I would like to review a few rules for a code of conduct for our forum this evening. And it's really important that we all understand that we have to respect each other, even if we have difference of opinions. Where we share, or where we want to make a difference, is in the ballot box. And that's why it's so important for all of us to vote so that we can have our voice heard. Please hold all applause until the end of each session, when every candidate has had a chance to respond. We expect everyone to be respectful of every candidate's opinion, including the candidates themselves. We expect everyone to be respectful of every candidate's opinion. Oh, I'm repeating myself, including the candidates themselves. I guess there's a reason I need to repeat that, and we all know why. We want everyone to hear our candidates' responses, whether you agree with them or not. Anyone who begins to interrupt our forum will be warned once. A second occurrence will result in being escorted out. And I hope that's perfectly clear. We are all here to become better informed as voters and to hear from the candidates who hope to represent us. Thank you for your consideration and respect to our process. Brian?
All right, thank you, Francis. Okay, well, let's get to it. We're now going to begin with the Imperial Irrigation District candidates. The IID is the agency that manages water and electricity for our region. So these seats matter directly for every one of our households here in the Imperial Valley. So we have 4 candidates across 2 contested divisions this evening. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their introduction. Can I ask Secretary? I see we have 2 minutes on the clock. Okay, Each candidate will have 2 minutes to make their introduction. We're going to be kicking it off according to their how they are set, with Alex Cardenas first, then Carlos, Karin, and lastly Eric.
Can we do a mic check? So mic check's good?
If you all want to do that, yeah, before.
Mic check, mic check.
Go ahead.
All right, mic check. Okay, mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Is that good? Yeah? Okay.
Mic check, mic check.
Testing.
Okay, ready?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Alex Cardenas, and I'm proud to serve as your Imperial Irrigation District Director for Division 1. For the past 8 years, I have worked diligently to represent our community with integrity, accountability, and a strong commitment to public service. IID is one of the largest public utilities in California, serving over 166,000 customers across thousands of miles of infrastructure, and it's governed by just 5 elected officials. That responsibility is something that I take very seriously. During my time on the board, I have focused on 2 critical issues facing our region: reliability of our power grid and protection of our Colorado River water rights. We work to maintain some of the lowest energy rates in California, while also making long overdue investments in infrastructure, ensuring that we turn the lights on and the power is there. At the same time, I fought to ensure that our water, which supports a multi-billion-dollar agricultural economy and thousands of local jobs, is protected from outside interests. In addition, I've been proud to support the efforts that expand diversity and exclusion in leadership, including helping advance the hiring of the first female general manager in IID history, as well as supporting great representation across other institutions. My commitment to inclusion goes beyond government service. Through my work with foster children, we built one of the state's most impactful rural advocacy programs, empowering communities to have a voice and a direct role in the decisions that shape the future of children. More than 12 years in public service and 16 years working with foster youth, I remain committed to supporting the most vulnerable members of this community.
My name is Carlos Duran, and before I begin with my introduction, I think that I should extend my hand to the incumbent, because I know that it's been a very tense political situation, so I think that for me, a priority is dialogue, peace, and so forth. So,
Welcome.
Okay. My name is Carlos Duran, and my main focus is to bring jobs, growth, and investment to the Imperial Valley. I will focus on finding ways to offset any water reductions. There is a large aquifer in East Mesa, and I will explore doing large-scale wells to offset any water reductions. I will also continue to explore energy rates and/or energy rebates to lower energy rates and ensure new energy profits from growth and they are dedicated to no more energy rate increases. IID must be business friendly. I will ask for a committee to meet with any development investing $50 million or more. The committee will negotiate for voluntary public benefits up front from these large financial projects. I will not take trips outside the area that are unnecessary. I am a back to basics kind of guy and will engage with locals and listen, as this is my profession now. Sacramento and Washington, D.C. are full of professional, well-paid IID lobbyists, and these lobbyists don't need clumsy IID directors burdening them for free drinks, food, and travel. The focus should be now on what is happening in the Imperial Valley. If the county or any city approves a project, I will support that decision and not second guess them, and for sure, I will not sue any of these projects. I will vote yes on any project that provide.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Our next speaker is Eric.
Protector at heart, my life in public service with the Central Police Department, Central School Board, Child Protective Services, to the Imperial Valley Community Foundation Board. These experiences equip me with the frontline insight and experience to manage complex operations and make difficult decisions under pressure. IID decisions affect our farming community, our overhead and our small businesses, as well as double-digit rate increases that are causing families like mine monthly stressors. I am of the middle class, and frankly, I'm frustrated, I'm confused. I believe that IID is missing one piece, that independent voice from the crowd, that proud Christian with a backbone and a conscience. I'm running to say that, hey, this doesn't make sense. Why is so much of our money being swallowed by administration overhead and litigation? Why was the time of use rate implemented without real public outreach? Why are we implementing double-digit rate increases during record-breaking inflation? Why did we surrender board authority to unelected managers? Why do we give ourselves lifetime benefits, right? As much as the IID wants to shift the business model, it is not a self-serving private corporation, it is a public trust. My goal is simple: protect the water, cut executive waste, lower our power costs, and finally give people like us a voice. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Karin Eugenio. I'm a proud Imperial homeowner, born and raised right here in the Imperial Valley. I'm also a single mother to my 11-year-old daughter, who is the reason I do this work. When my daughter was born, I came home because this community is not just where I'm from, it's what I'm fighting for. In 2018, I ran for Imperial City Council. I served for 4 years, and I had the honor of being the mayor in 2021 during the global pandemic. I ran because I wanted a better future for my daughter and all of our families. During this time, we raised the standards for our parks, initiated long overdue beautification efforts along Highway 86, and helped bring long promised development to reality, including the Cambria Hotel. I didn't just support that project, I was there from concept to grand opening, ensuring it was done right for our community. Responsible development has always been my priority. In 2022, I was elected to the IID board, where I now serve as chairwoman. Alongside my board members, we have worked tirelessly to protect our most critical resources, our water rights, and affordable and reliable power. Because I know many families here are struggling, I focus on making sure no one has to choose between the lights and putting food on the table. We lowered the senior discount age, we expanded income qualifications, and I created the SHIELD program to ensure medical hardship is considered when families need help. I also serve as the chair of the Imperial County Transportation Commission, president of the Humane Society, and hold the governor's appointment to the Fair Board. Service isn't just what I do, it's who I am. Thank you.
Thank you. The first question for all the board of directors, and let's go ahead and start. Let's just go ahead and start backwards. We'll start with, we will rotate. Everybody will answer the same question. The question revolves around energy, reliability, and affordability. Imperial County residents depend on IID for reliable and affordable power. Lithium extraction and potential data centers will dramatically increase energy demand in the valley. In its capacity as the primary electricity provider for this region, how should IID plan for that growth while protecting ratepayers and ensuring local community benefits? Each candidate has 3 minutes to respond.
We are a local public power utility, which means we all have stake in this utility. We are not a large investment-owned utility. We don't answer to shareholders, we answer to people. We are a board who serve our constituents. Because of that, our power structure is very limited. So when you have massive structures, especially or massive developers coming in and asking for half of our entire power supply, how does it not burden the average rate holder? So we at the IID are very protective of our utility, we're very protective of our valley, we're very protective of our resources, especially when we are subject and often victims to predatory development. So in this process of new high-scale data usage and these massive projects that we're now being encountered with, we have taken it upon ourselves to make sure that every ratepayer is protected from these entities, and that first and foremost, every constituent is not affected by development that isn't going to strengthen our community as a whole. Thank you.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Reset the clock. Energy reliability and affordability. Imperial County residents depend on IID for reliable and affordable power. Lithium extraction and potential data centers will dramatically increase energy demand in the valley. In its capacity as a primary electricity provider for this region, how should IID plan for that growth while protecting ratepayers and ensuring local communities benefit? 3 minutes.
Thank you. So we are told that the market is unpredictable. There's necessary infrastructure adjustments needed. But people like me, we want to call it the way we see it. IID is reporting record-breaking revenues, and the ratepayers are reporting record-breaking power bills. It's easy for a director or an admin team to recommend and vote for a rate hike when they aren't the ones having to choose between more food and pay their power bill. I know I'm not the only one. I'm in the middle class. I'm vulnerable. I know I'm not the only one. It's hitting all of us. I think that this isn't just a policy failure by the directors. I think it's a lack of empathy for the working class. Our wallets, directors, admin are not an open checkbook. Freeze all unnecessary rate hikes and force the district to find administration waste within its own walls before they ask for another dime before they ask another dime from us. I'm calling for new director leadership, real checks and balances. Thank you.
I could answer.
You got the question?
Yeah, I could answer. This isn't about stopping development. It's about making sure that our community finally benefits from it. I think that, well, it's not that I think, it is a sad reality that Imperial County ranks 116th in energy production out of 2,165 counties. And in California, Imperial County ranks number 7 out of 55 counties. So we're number 116 nationally and number 7 state in the state. So there's absolutely no reason why the grid is failing. That's unexcusable. We need to make sure, moving forward, we need to make sure, and the solution is quite easy. I mean, this is not a Republican-Democrat issue, but even the president has mentioned, no, you gotta make the data centers pay for infrastructure upgrades. That's the solution. You, instead of making the ratepayer pay for the upgrades, you make them these billion-dollar companies pay. That's the solution. I know it sounds easier said than done, but that's the attitude that we need to take. You know, we need to make if a developer wants to come in and develop, well, guess what? You gotta pitch into the community, pitch into to upgrade the grid.
Eric, you want me to read the question again? You're right. Alex. Sorry,
No,
Alex.
I don't need the answer. I don't need the question. Let me just share this. This is not a time to be confused. This is not a time to not know how we're going to deal with this strategically. What you have are 5 board members that understand reality, and the reality is that we need to make serious investment into our infrastructure. We have been serving power for over 90 years here in Imperial Valley, 166,000 meters across 7,000 square miles. We have over 6,784 miles of distribution and transmission lines. This is an amazing marvel that we have built here in Imperial County by people in this room. And one of the things that we have failed to do is to keep up with inflation. And inflation has grown over the last, since 2015, by 33%. And let me just share a little bit about the inexperience that's at this table. 16% of our total $1 billion budget is related to wages. So if you really wanted to look at it from a fiscal standpoint, it's not in the wages that we pay, our salaries that we provide to our 1,400 employees. It's the $400 million of natural gas and power purchases that we make in 2 months, July and August. The only way to address and make your energy rates affordable and reasonable is to invest back into the infrastructure. Our board has taken a position to ensure reliability is the North Star. This business about salaries and thinking that that's going to make an impact on $1 billion budget when you're spending $400 million in 2 months in natural gas and power purchases is not the answer. The answer is let's go vertical with our generation, our distribution, and our transmission. Let's invest into the power generation here and control our destiny and not rely on importing power. This is why you have a board that unanimously 5-0 saw that we are not keeping up with infrastructure. If you had a car and you drove it for 20 years and only had 1 oil change and didn't change the tires, what condition would you be in? I am here to make sure that when you turn that switch, that light is going to come on. And we have identified a capital improvement plan where we're going to invest over $3 billion over the next 15 years. Do you have any idea the economic stimulus that we're going to create? And we didn't do this in a vacuum. We did it with the first aid kit. And that first aid kit is in the wonderful programs that we have record attendance in participating to save energy.
Thank you, Alex. Please, if you can hold your applause. I understand this water and energy business is very exciting, so that will conclude the round of questions regarding energy, reliability, and affordability. So if your question wasn't addressed in the responses, that would be a great question to put onto that slip. But we're going to move topics now from energy to water management. So the question that each of the candidates will have 3 minutes to respond, starting with Eric. We're going to switch it up so that it's not always the first candidate. The question is, water remains one of the most critical issues for Imperial County agriculture and community. What approach should IID take to balance changing water supply in the Colorado River with our agricultural needs, environmental obligations, and long-term water sustainability?
I remember watching Mr. Cardenas a few years ago. I was inspired when he said, there is no compromise with water. Simple. I think that's my response, very, very simple. I respect that. 20 years ago, the quantification settlement, the QSA agreement, was built on a reality that's no longer near our current reality in the valley. The river is shrinking, our weather is getting hotter and weirder. Federal cuts are most likely going to be headed our way soon. Again, the cost of infrastructure, yes, it is skyrocketing. Managing a decline is not very promising when you have Metropolitan, Coachella Valley, San Diego fighting. You know, the IID needs to fight for a renegotiation that reflects the valley and farms and community and families that are relevant today. Any water that leaves this valley should be valued at today's market. I know there's people out there that want to minimize the water that goes to the Salt Sea. I get it. I drink a lot of water, right? They want to put it to better use. But if 36 of the 120, I'm sorry, Oscar, 36 of the 120 Coachella Valley golf courses use Colorado River water, it's time to renegotiate. It's time we change the deal. Thank you.
All right, up next, Karin.
Yes, thank you. First of all, Coachella Valley uses its own water source called Coachella Valley Water District, which doesn't affect the Imperial Irrigation District. We as a district have been conserving water effortlessly, tirelessly for many years now, especially for the last 4 years that I've been on this board. All we've talked about, in addition to strengthening our grid, is making sure that we conserve the water, making sure that we are good stewards to the reservoir, making sure that we as a single water entity have enough water to feed our people. 97% of our water is used by agriculture, and our ag industry has left millions of acre feet of water in the reservoir in order to be good stewards, in order to ensure that we have enough water for generations to come. We are in the worst droughts in recorded history, and our growers and our farmers, which is $1 billion industry in this valley, have done a tremendous job of ensuring that water is constantly being conserved and protected. We don't sell water outside the QSA. The QSA was established decades ago before any of us were on the board. It is a critical economic factor in our budget. It is critical to our farmers in order to provide on-farm conservation, to ensure that our growers are still feeding the entire nation. 90% of food comes from this valley in the winter when the rest of it is cold and snowy and you're eating a salad in New York. That salad comes from here. That food comes from here. So our water is critical. Our water rights are critical. J.B. Hamby, the vice chair of our board, has been negotiating the conservation efforts among the 6 other basin states for the last couple of years. He's done a tremendous job in doing so, and we are all working just as hard alongside him. Thank you.
IID should focus on protecting our water rights while also planning responsibly for the future. Agriculture is the backbone of Imperial County, so any water policy has to keep farmers and our local economy in mind. At the same time, IID has to be realistic about changes on the Colorado River. That means investing in conservation, improving efficiency, and making sure that we use the water as wisely as possible. IID also has to meet environmental responsibilities, especially as they affect the Salton Sea and public health. So the right approach is balance. Protect agriculture, plan for long-term sustainability, and make sure local communities are part of every major water decision.
And finally, Alex.
Number one, folks, this isn't a renegotiation. We have a perfected water right. To sit here and say, oh, we want to renegotiate a water right that has been back to the Supreme Court and said that Imperial Irrigation District, which again has a perfected water right, 2.6 million acre feet to to provide irrigation to over 450,000 acres of farmland. Why would you want to negotiate that away? This board stands on priority, law of the river. We stand that we will not subject to any federal cuts unless it's compact compliance. It is alarming to hear that there's people who you guys that are before you who are willing to negotiate those water rights away. This board stands on compact compliance. For the last 22 years, our farmers have conserved over 9 million acre feet of water. And you know what's happened to our crop report? It's gone up. If you look at the crop report, when the QSA was implemented, it was $1 billion. Today, it's approaching $3 billion. 1 out of every 6 jobs is ag-related. To sit here and hear that they would want to renegotiate that water rate, lose our priority system, and give it to urban folks is appalling. This board, all 5 of us stand with the guiding principles of protecting and standing with the compact. 3.1 million acre feet of the water that we receive at the Imperial Dam, 2.6 of it's perfected, and we've created a $3 billion ag economy here. And we're going to continue to do it. And we've done it through conservation. So folks, when people talk about the T word, or they talk about, which is transfer, they talk about the fallowing, you know what? Our only source of water comes from Lake Mead. Through the conservation efforts that were going to be done over the next 3 years, we raised Lake Mead by 12 feet. And federal appropriations, we just picked up $1 billion in federal appropriations and IRA funds, Inflation Reduction Act. They allocated $4 billion to address the Colorado River among 7 states. And Imperial Irrigation District picked up 25%, $1 billion, which $250 billion was for the salted sea. To hear these folks talk about, oh, well, there's no federal appropriation, or no, that's not going to happen, that's a farce. Okay, this board stands on priority, and we will continue to stand priority in an effort to protect that $3 billion crop report.
Our next question is going to be from you. We have asked you not to applause. We have good responses, but we want everybody to continue with the process. So we would appreciate a little bit of respect, please, to the process. Community accountability is our next question. Many residents feel that IID decisions can be difficult to understand or assess. Would you support reinstating the Energy Consumer Oversight Committee? And how would you recenter residents as stakeholders in IID's decision-making process? And the first question goes to Cardenas.
I've actually, a lot of people have been bringing this topic up, the ECAC, and I've been getting questions to look into where all the money has been going to from the ECAC since it was first established in 1994. And I know that it was recently removed, but there have been questions about where all that money has been going. And I think that these are concerned residents, concerned constituents that are worried about where all this money has been going to. That's going to be one of my missions, is to figure that question out, where has that money gone, and look for a solution to that, because a lot of people have been asking me to look into that, and these are people that have been here for a long time. And also another question is so that ECAC was removed, but it's still being charged, right? So that's another question that I've been also getting asked to look into. So we need to bring all this. We need to bring this to the light, right? This is important. A lot of people are worried, concerned, and I'm going to find the answers to the questions that I've been getting about the ECAC.
Eric, do you want me to read the question again?
Yes, please.
Community accountability. Many residents feel that IID decisions can be difficult to understand or assess. Would you support reinstating the, and how would you recenter residents as stakeholders in IID's decision-making process?
Yes. I do believe that, and I mentioned this to current directors, that there is a disconnect between the ratepayers, the stakeholders, the directors, and the admin team. Ironically, that language does not seem to resonate. The IID is facing a crisis with accountability. The current board recently voted to hand over critical board authority to unelected general managers and admin team. Seems like essentially our voice is being silenced, moving important financial decisions, committee decisions, informational item decisions, move to consent items. I believe that directors are essentially well-paid watchdogs. 60,000 well-paid watchdogs, not bystanders. IID is not a private corporation. It's a public utility that belongs to us. When the directors remove the requirement for a public vote, you remove the only mechanism that we, the ratepayers, have for accountability. Very simple. Implement an oversight committee or something like it. Give the people what they deserve. Thank you.
First off, we are not in a crisis. And we did not hand over any board authority to our general manager other than paperwork and logistics for time preservation and to get our projects working faster than they have traditionally. We used to have board meetings that lasted 8, 12 hours. People had to present projects that really stifled our energy and our power department. So recently we have given some more responsibilities to the general manager as far as logistics and paperwork, not our water rights, not our power rights, and there's great danger in making those implications. I've seen my opponent at half of one meeting in the 4 years I've been a director. Perhaps going to more meetings would bring some much needed clarity. The advisory committee, which is what it is, it's called an Energy Consumer Advisory Committee, was simply for people to come talk about projects that we were working on energy-wise. It was a good committee, however, we've shifted from that because it was also hindering power projects. Our utility is apocalyptic in a lot of ways. The projects that we're working on have to do with infrastructure that is so critical and vital to our survival that sometimes if it takes you a month to get it to the board or a month to get it approved, right, sometimes in those couple weeks you could generate millions of dollars in costs that could have been handled had those authorities been handled over logistically to our general manager or an administrator. So we are not in a crisis. We are a public utility. We do care about our constituents and our ratepayers, and everything we do is for them. I think there's maybe one person here that was concerned with the Energy Committee. I've not heard those concerns before, but how Vice Chair Hamby and I handled when we first got there was we really wanted to make a transition towards public affairs, towards making sure that people are heard, towards making sure that we had better communication. We have doubled our public affairs committee, and we are now messaging our people every day, highlighting our employees, what they do, how critical they are to our survival on a daily basis. So again, we are not in a crisis. We are in the best place we have ever been public affairs-wise. And misunderstanding content for propaganda is dangerous. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm going to join Director Eugenio. Yeah, I've had perfect attendance the last 4 years. I have never seen these individuals attend an IID board meeting, let alone make a public comment. So it's a little disingenuous to say that they have concerns with representation when it appears they can't make the investment to come in and express their concerns. Ironically, it's in the last 3 weeks that they expressed their concerns that there is no transparency, that there is no accountability, that there is a crisis. Folks, I'm here to tell you there's not a crisis. What we have is a governance manual. A governance manual that tells us as directors how we need to function, how we need to act, and how to ensure that we do and be effective and efficient with public business. And let me also share the responsibility of our internal auditor. Our internal auditor and the engagements that we have given her to ensure, number one, compliance. Number two, reconciliation when it comes to our financial responsibilities. And to ensure that the public is kept informed quarterly. We are reviewing our financial position, and it's subject to compliance. In our policy manual that we have collectively put together, every month, every meeting, we are assessing and determining our policies. And those policies are not subject to a vote. They're subject to whether or not they're substantially compliant, needs work, or we need to blow it up. So we have done an incredible job in terms of getting the things done. It has been prior to us taking over this board, our meetings to get an approval of a $200,000 major work order took almost 3 months. You would run it through staff, through the ECAC, then information to the board, then back for action. Meanwhile, you're having 2-digit inflationary issues. What do you think is happening to the price of the material when you're having to wait 3 to 4 months to approve a major work order? That's not the answer. The answer is develop a strategic plan, develop an asset management plan, develop a governance manual, bring those items to the board, get them approved, and report it to the public, and have our internal auditor participate and ensure that things are getting done. IID is incredibly efficient and effective, and we're doing this for you folks to ensure that we're getting projects across the finish line.
We're going to change it up a little bit. We were going to switch in the assembly. And then later on bring them back and ask questions, but we think it's a little smoother if we just go ahead and ask questions, and then when we're done with the IID, we will then bring the assembly district up. One of the first questions, yeah, and then after we have four questions, and then afterwards we will have you do your closing statements. Hidalgo from Imperial wants to know from all of the IID candidates, are you in favor of data centers? Shall we start with?
I can answer that.
But we have a natural order, so let's go ahead and start with Karin, and then we'll just go this way. If that's okay with you?
Sure. Yes, I can answer it for him. He's being paid by the data center. That is a constant threat to my immediate community. I have people who are losing sleep about this massive data center within my community. I have a developer who's been there for decades, who has lost millions of dollars, who is the greatest contributor, one of the greatest contributors to our community, who is losing millions of dollars for the potential of this very terrifying project, which will consume 330 megawatts. That is equivalent to we create 400 megawatts at the steam plant. And that is equivalent to our winter peak in Coachella Valley, Imperial Valley. Our winter peak is 400 megawatts for 2 counties. So one developer is asking for all of that energy 330 megawatts in one community, next to schools, next to children, next to my neighbors, next to families, without an environmental impact study, without CEQA. There's no long-term study that's going to predict what these health impacts are going to have within my community. So in sum, am I open to data centers? Yes, if it is done responsibly. Am I open to predatory developers who are ruining my neighborhood? Absolutely not.
Okay. Alex, you're next.
Yes, again, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, and to piggyback on what Director Eugenio said, well, we're here to support responsible development. We recently authored and approved a resolution when it comes to large load interconnection. And what we have done is we've taken a trifecta approach. There's 3 critical keystones when it comes to developing a policy so that you're not impacted. Number 1, protection of our ratepayers. So when it comes to grid reliability, the way we're gonna look at it is to ensure that you folks are protected in terms of you being a ratepayer. And one of the things that we can possibly look at is non-firm power service. Non-firm power service basically means that in the event that the grid becomes unstable, we can execute and ensure that the impact to our ratepayers are not subject to those large loads. The interruption would go to the high load users in an effort to protect you. So the trifecta approach is number 1.
Thank you.
Is it 2 minutes?
No, it's 1. Answering the questions.
When
You want to finish your sentence?
Yeah, so protection of ratepayers, ensure full cost recovery, and industry expert decision making. Thank you.
Carlos, here.
The answer to that is, I mean, everybody here avails themselves of the technology of data centers. There's a lot of misinformation happening in regards to this data center, but the solution is easy. I mean, what he said. I mean, he made good points. You make the developers pay into the grid. That's the bottom line. If people want to come and develop, you force them to pay into the grid. So. You don't sue them. I mean, all these lawsuits that are happening in between the agencies, they are wasting our resources. When we should be working in collaboration together to fix the grid, and we make these developers pay for the grid upgrades. That's the easy approach to this. I mean, even the president has mentioned that, as I said.
Thank you. I lead people first, community first. That's been my style for the past 7 years that I've been in governance. You can't be a leader without understanding and listening to the people you lead, right? Data center is not what District 5 community wants at this point in time. I would know I live there. I live in Victoria Homes for 12 years. I don't want it in my backyard either. At this point in time, there's just too many red flags, too many unknowns. Our community displayed a lot of heart to defend itself, and I respect that. IID does not have land abuse rights. It is a utility. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person, Mackenzie Miller from Salt Lake City. Are you here? Mackenzie Miller? Would you be kind enough to read your question?
Sorry, it was a very long question, but we didn't.
There are proposals to use large amounts of water for AI data centers and cooling, and then return that water to the Salton Sea, potentially altered with chemicals as it runs through it for cooling. What safeguards will you require to ensure that this doesn't worsen toxicity, air quality, or public health for nearby communities? Given that communities around the Salton Sea are already facing a public health crisis, why is the IID even considering allowing industrial water use that could introduce new contaminants, and what guarantees can you provide that this won't make conditions worse?
Now you understand why I asked her to read her question. Okay, I have lost my, okay, it's a general question. Who wants to start off with that?
So, number one.
Ladies first.
Sorry.
Así es.
We're,
I have the mic. Let's go, Karin.
Sorry.
All excited.
All right. I just want to reiterate that we are in the worst drought in recorded history. And I also want to reiterate, first of all, that's a great question. It's a very important question. The greatest assets we have are water and power. Without those two entities, we could not survive here. So it's an important question and I appreciate it. But I also think it's critical to understand and remember that we are not the siting authority. That is the county's responsibility. It is the county's responsibility to choose projects, to be selected, to put projects within our queue as a public agency that is obligated to serve power who request it as long as they meet our mandates. It is their responsibility to keep us safe, to make those decisions, and most importantly, make sure that they perform the proper environmental studies, right? That there are long impact studies that contribute towards our health, towards our well-being, towards the next generations as well as us. Thank you.
Alex?
yes, and just to piggyback on this, we have a very rigorous WSA situation, which is a water supply agreement. And that water supply agreement is subject to environmental impacts, which brings to light CEQA. So if anybody's looking at a 30-year water supply agreement, they have to complete the application. They have to determine what the water use is. They have to look at discharge. Most importantly, it involves a public process. A public process where you will be able to participate in terms of those water supply agreements. Large water supply agreements can only be approved by the board. And that is a public process that you will be able to participate in. So I want to provide some comfort and some assurance that when it comes to those types of requests, that is where the rubber meets the road, and that's why we need experienced board members that can make and handle those decisions.
Thank you. Carlos?
I think that there's a lot of misinformation regarding the water use. For this particular data center, it's reclaimed and it's also from Google. So if you guys do, like people have said, oh, Google it, right? Google has requirements to be green, to be environmentally friendly. And I believe that, there is a lot of, and it's interesting, all this negative hype about data centers. It's a that's another topic, it's a national security issue. And, not only is it a national security issue, but it's with, you guys have, the people that have concerns have legitimate concerns, right? But at the end of the day, Google is a green, environmental friendly agency.
Eric?
Yes. Ms. Eugenio, Mr. Cardenas, great job. I would shake your hands, but I think you're leaving me hanging. So, the big, beautiful bill, I'm just teasing. The big, beautiful bill identified opportunity zones. So these opportunity zones land in the Imperial Valley. They provide incentives, investment incentives for investors to invest in at-risk communities. Water. I had this crazy idea that I told two people. I don't know if you guys are gonna throw tomatoes at me, or potatoes, or something at me, but so water. So why not move granted, the data center, you guys, that's what you guys want. Move the data center to opportunity zone, outside, out of mind, near the new river, build us a water treatment plant, and use that water. That's what I got. I'm wild idea.
Thank you. And that concludes our general questions from the public. Please give it up for the candidates and for the public for preparing these questions. All right. There were quite a few topics that didn't make their way to the prepared questions, but these candidates are not going anywhere. They were going to stick around. There was particular interest from the public about the funding of each candidate and their campaigns, so I invite you to address that with them personally once they're off that stage. But before they get off that stage, Alex Cardenas will be kicking us off with a round of introductions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes. Take it away, Alex.
Wait, introductions?
Sorry, closing statements.
Oh, closing statements.
We're like
All
back
right.
on the top. No,
All right,
closing
ready?
statements.
Okay, ready? Here we go. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here tonight. Over the course of this forum, you heard about the responsibilities that come with serving on the Imperial Irrigation District Board, and they are significant. The role requires experience, sound judgment, and a commitment to putting the community first. I'm proud to share that over the past 4 years, I've maintained perfect attendance as your director. I have had the honor of being selected by my peers to serve 2 consecutive terms as board president, something that reflects the trust placed in my leadership. And most importantly, it reflects a leadership rooted in service, always putting ratepayers, our families, and our community ahead of personal interest. I've also worked to ensure that leadership reflects the community it serves, supporting greater diversity, inclusion, and helping open doors for leaders who represent the future of our region. We are living in challenging times, rising costs, aging infrastructure, increasing pressure on our water resources. These are not issues that we can afford to learn on the job. We need leadership that is proven, steady, and focused on results. My commitment has always been clear. Keep your energy rates affordable, protect your water rights, and ensure that every member of the community has a voice. Above all, my greatest responsibility has always been my family. For over 31 years, my wife, Brandy Cardenas, who's here tonight, and her and I have built a family right here in Imperial Valley. She is 90% deaf, and her strength and her resilience continue to inspire me every day. Together we have raised our children and now enjoy our time with our grandchildren, all whom call this community home. Like you, I want a future that's strong, exclusive, and full of opportunity, and I want to tell my wife that I love you always.
Thank you. Next one is Carlos. Could you please go ahead with your closing statement?
Okay. I am not a politician. I'm not as polished as the incumbent, on the closing statement. And if you let this guy, he's gonna be here for his entire life. I'm not gonna be. I don't plan on being here if the Lord allows me and to be elected. I don't want to be here forever. I don't want to be here for 2 terms. I want to get in here. I've been getting a lot of concern. Like I said, I've been getting a lot of questions, concerns of people that that are not happy with the incumbent's trajectory. May 21st, 2024, they gave themselves a 39.2 salary increase. July 2nd, 2024, they did that thing with the retirement plan. August 20th, 2024, they gave Jamie Asbury that enormous salary increase with the $75,000 bonus. I'm not here, that's called self-service. So even though he painted all this beautiful narrative, the facts are different. So I'm here, I'm listening to absolutely everybody, whether you're Democrat, Republican, whatever you are. I'm listening to absolutely everybody. I'm going to be here if elected, if the Lord allows me. I'm going to put every concern, question that I'm getting into motion to please the constituents of IID Division 1.
Karin? Karin? You've asked to hold your applause until the end. Thank you, Karin.
Yes, thank you. I spent a career in public service, from law enforcement to helping communities' most vulnerable families and children, in my work with CPS. My work and commitment to helping people change his lives. Alex knows we work together. IID is missing the average Joe ratepayer perspective. We need a director with a conscience to speak up for people like us. History shows that I'm not afraid to vote no. IID needs executive accountability, more so now, after, as I mentioned, the unpopular significant authority to unelected managers. IID needs to meet with companies that can offer practical solutions to address the one utility that uses 55% of your power, your HVAC system. IID needs to lead through collaboration, not litigation. IID needs to have empathy for the working class ratepayers. Lifetime benefits, after 2 terms, doubling your power bill in 3 years. You know, we don't connect with that. IID is not a business, it's a public utility, a public trust. And some say they're holding us hostage. What are we gonna do? What are you gonna do? Not pay your bill? If you believe in me, I want to see what I can do, serving with integrity, leading with Christian values, running a faith-based, grace-filled campaign. Come talk to me. Talk to people that know me. And consider me for your vote, Division 5. Thank you.
Karin, would you please start?
Can you start?
You want to start the clock again? 2 minutes?
Let's be honest about where we were. For decades, our community's power grid was left to rot, decline, and decay for failure of investment and poor planning. We inherited a power grid that was run like a car with bald tires and no oil changes, pushed to the brink of failure. But in the past 4 years, we've started to turn that around. We've brought in millions in federal funding. We've restored lost opportunities. We've invested in infrastructure.
Apologies, we stopped the clock.
We brought in millions in federal funding. We've restored lost opportunities. We've invested in infrastructure. We've strengthened relationships, and we've stabilized the system so families can count on it. And let me be clear about where I stand. We are not going back. We are not going back to instability. We are not going back to backroom deals. We are not going back to putting developers ahead of our community. We are moving forward. Forward means protecting our water rights. Forward means safeguarding our region from unchecked development like data centers who threaten our resources. Forward means building a strong, reliable, and predictable energy grid. It takes courage to stop kicking the can down the road. It takes leadership to invest in tomorrow, and that is exactly what we are doing. We are making the investments that should have been made for us, so the next generation does not have to pay the price. I've seen what happens when we don't get it right. I've seen it in my city, I've seen the consequences, and I will not let that happen again. So tonight, I ask for your support to continue fighting for you, to continue being a voice for ratepayers, to continue building a future rooted in stability, accountability, and community, because there is power in community, and together, we are not going back. We are moving forward together. Thank you.
Okay.